The Great Cake Contest by Lebohang Masango at Bookdash. Lucky loves cake. He is so happy that the Great Cake Contest is in town. What cake can I bake? He thinks. I know, I can make a pancake, shouts Lucky. He walks to Poncho's house to share his idea, but she already beat him to it. Or what if I made a carrot cake, he wonders. He goes to tell Nini his plan, but she had the same idea. What about baking a black forest cake? He rushes to tell Kima what he's come up with, but he's too late. On the way to Nathabi's house, he thinks, let me just make a Christmas cake. But Nathabi already made that happen. What other cake can I bake? He asks himself. How about a chocolate mousse cake? He arrives at Linda's house, but oh no, he was too slow. Lucky gets an idea. I will make a roly-poly cake. He gets to Zola's house, but she's way ahead of him. Lucky feels sad when he gets home because he is out of ideas. He asks his family to help him think about what great cake he can bake. Mama, Papa, and his big sister Musa all put their heads together to help him enter the Great Cake Contest. The cake is so big, so wide, so tall that it begins to wobble, 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 and fall. Oh no! Everyone at the Great Cake Contest is covered in cake. Where are the judges? Where are the contestants? Where is Lucky? The judges munch and chomp their way out, and everyone agrees Lucky is the winner of the Great Cake Contest. What cake would you bake? The end. The Best Thing Ever by Melissa Fagan at Bookdash. Muzi loves to build things. He dreams of building the best thing ever. Once he built a shelter for his toys. But it wasn't the best thing ever. Yesterday he built a bridge for his animals. It was a good thing, but not the best. Today, Muzi is going to visit Ugogo. He is sad. Without his toys, how can he build the best thing ever? At the bus stop, Muzi is amazed. He sees red things and blue things, small things and big things, new things and old things. Muzi has a new idea for building the best thing ever. On the road to Ugogo's, Muzi finds many things, long things and short things, round things and square things. By the riverside, Muzi finds more things, soft things and pointy things, green things and brown things. Look, Muzi, we are here. While Ugogo bakes for the hungry travellers, Muzi builds. Look, Gogo, a new house for you. Oh, Muzi, laughs Gogo, this is the best thing ever. Gogo, Gogo, says Muzi, the world is full of toys. Look what I can build. The end. Night Times by Diane Makings at Bookdash. Good day, Lily of Ladybrand. Good day, Tinama of Takani. You can't catch me. Charge! Follow that dragon. Ha 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 ha. We're going to get you, you slimy Songololo. Attack! Supper time! Please, just 5 more minutes. The end. Let's Have an Inside Day by Lerato Mangeni at Book Dash. Let's have an inside day. A pancake, syrup and berries day. A jump on the bed and twirling day. A dress up like Dad and pictures day. Let's have an inside games day. We'll hide and seek and run and scream, but whisper when we pass Mama's room. Let's have a dancing and singing day. A tickle tummies and eat gummies day. Let's get snuggly and tell stories, fall asleep and get snoring. Because an inside day is a busy day. The end. Grandpa Farouk's Garden by Matthew Khalil at Book Dash. Deep in the city, surrounded by houses and bricks and tar, you'll find Grandpa Farouk's garden. Amir visits Grandpa once a week. He loves the leaves and flowers and trees. Amir helps to water the plants. He helps with the compost and works with his grandpa all day. When they finish, they feast on a harvest of fruit. One day, Grandpa didn't eat his pear. "What's wrong?" asked Amir. "My garden is dying," replied Grandpa. "Why?" asked Amir. "Look closely," said Grandpa. "Some pests are eating the plants." "We need ladybirds," said Grandpa. "They are the bugs that eat the pests that kill the plants. Without ladybirds, the garden will die." "I'll bring you a bug or two," said Amir. For a whole week, Amir looked and searched and collected. He found one ladybird on the sports field, 2 more at the shop, 3 at the park, and 4 behind the TV. Next week, Amir went to visit Grandpa Farouk and showed him his jar of 10 bugs. "You've done well, oh my boy, you've done well," Grandpa said with a tear in his eye. Grandpa was very happy. The ladybirds were very hungry. The ladybirds ate the pests and the garden blossomed. From that day on, Grandpa Farouk's garden did what gardens should do. It grew and grew and grew. The end. Circles by Alex Latimer at Book Dash. On a cliff, there lived a young vulture with his mother. When he was old enough to fly, his mother took him high into the air and they circled together, watching the ground below. "I want to show you something beautiful," she told her son. They saw an old gemsbok staggering through the heat. "Look there, that gemsbok won't last long." Sure enough, the buck collapsed right there and died. The 2 vultures flew down. "This isn't beautiful," said the young vulture to his mother. "This is horrible." "I know," said his mother. "Death is very difficult and very sad, but it is also beautiful." "No ways," said the young vulture. "Yuck." "Just wait," she said. "We will come back here soon and you will see." The next week, they visited the dead buck. Its skeleton was clean and white, and tiny plants had started to grow between the bones. The week after that, the shoots had grown tall and blossomed. A butterfly sipped at the flowers, and a songololo rested in their shade. A week later, a pair of weavers was picking the leaves to build a nest. Bees were collecting pollen from the blossoms, and a spider had made her home between the buck's horns. And the week after that, they saw a young gemsbok nibbling the tasty shoots. "Well," said the vulture's mother, "look at the life one buck has given. He has given a spider a home and weavers a nest, fed bees and butterflies, sheltered a songololo, and helped the next generation of buck grow strong." The young vulture smiled. The two of them flew back to their nest high up on the cliff. "It is not just our bodies we leave behind when we die," said the mother vulture. "We also leave our lessons and our love and our memories." "Where do we leave all these things?" asked the little vulture. "We leave them in our children and in our family and friends. You are already my green patch on earth, little vulture, and you will be, forever." The end. And Also by Lauren Bukes at Book Dash. Tabo pretends that his bed is a raft on the sea. His little sister Ketu says, "Yes, and also there are sharks." "No," says Tabo. Tabo pretends that their taxi is a spaceship. His little sister Ketu says, "Yes, and also watch out for shooting stars." "No," says Tabo. Tabo pretends the playground is a jungle. His little sister Ketu says, "Yes, and also we are lions." "No," says Tabo. "Oh," says Tabo, "wait, wow, yes, that's a great idea." "I know," says Ketu. Tabo pretends to be a lion. "Roar!" Ketu also pretends to be a lion. "Roar!" Tabo pretends the other kids are a river of crocodiles. Ketu says, "Yes, and also we can jump on this log to float away." "Yes, and also," Tabo says, "we can slide down the rainbow." Ketu says, "Yes, and also watch out for the dinosaurs." Tabo says, "I had the best day playing pretend with you." Ketu says, "And also, we should play again tomorrow." The end. When the Fires Came by Jade Maître. One year, before the summer began, the fires did. Ian saw the sky turn amber at sunset. The sun always looked a special way when there was smoke around. The light turned to honey. Bird call ran out across the sand and slopes to say the day was done. His cows quietened and hung their heads. The roos assembled beneath the snow gums. But somewhere over the ridge, a spark had started and was finding the dry bark of bush. When the dark had fallen, you could see a soft glow lighting the hills of the horizon. There was a smell of smoke, soft at first, but as the rim of light grew brighter in the darkness, it turned sharp and bit the senses. It made you feel as though you needed to cough. Ian's dog Dave gave a whimper and put his nose to the floor. Ian knew that the tanks were dry. It hadn't rained in months and months. He knew that you needed water to put out a fire, and he knew that the fires moved fast. Ian got the ute from the garage and Dave hopped in the front seat beside him. They would need to drive to town, call the alarm. There were houses in the area that mightn't have seen the fire yet. Alone, Ian couldn't fight the fire, but maybe together they could. The road to town was bumpy. Ian and Dave bumped up and down together. On the way they saw a koala that had come down from its tree and was sniffing the air, looking worried. Dave stuck his head out of the car and barked, as though telling the koala what was coming. But the koala knew. Animals know these things. In town, lots of neighbours had gathered together. They were choosing people to help in the best way they could. Some were putting on the uniforms of the volunteer fire service and getting ready to drive the truck to the fires, where they'd use their hoses to try and put it out before it got too big. Some were finding safe places for people to sleep, people whose houses were too close to the fire to stay there safely. Some people were collecting old clothes for the animals who would be burnt in the flames, to hold them and make them feel as though they were safe. Animals had claws and could bite if they were afraid, but they would need caring for if their homes were burnt. Everyone needs a home, and some of the animals were already endangered. Every animal possible would need to be saved. Although it was night time, the sky had now turned a deep red. It felt like being on the planet Mars. Ian put on his uniform. He was going in the fire truck. He knew how to use the hose. He knew when to stay and fight a fire, and when to flee because it was too big. He knew how to put on the heavy uniform when the heat was stifling and the smoke stung your eyes, and little embers flew through the air like fireflies in a windstorm. "Stay here, mate," he said to Dave. But Dave whimpered and put his paw on him. Dave wanted to come. So Dave came with Ian and the other firefighters in the truck. The men and women were teachers and shopkeepers, builders and gardeners. It didn't matter what you did for a job. Everyone was working together to put out the flames and save the town, houses, animals and bush. The truck reached the front of the flames. There were embers and thick black smoke. The trees whipped back and forth in the heat of the blaze. Ian and Janine jumped out from the truck and began dragging the heavy hose towards the flames. The fire singed their cheeks. It was angry and deadly. Then their team turned on the water and it surged out towards the flames. But it was so small compared to the towering fire, they saw it turn to steam. It would take a lot of water to put out these flames. Suddenly, Ian heard Dave barking from the truck. He looked up and saw him leaping at the window. Suddenly, Dave jumped from the truck and ran into the towering flames. "Dave!" Ian shouted, but Dave didn't listen. Ian saw his best friend run into the blaze and disappear amid the black smoke and darkness. Ian wanted to go in after Dave, but he couldn't. He needed to hold the hose and keep the water going. Through tears, he kept his hand on the hose. And then suddenly, like a miracle, Ian saw Dave emerging back through the smoke and flames. Dave was badly burnt. In his mouth, he held a baby Joey. The baby Joey was in a bad way. Dave was in a bad way too. The two of them were black with smoke. Dave had tried to save the baby wallaby. He must have seen him from the truck. One of the firefighters took a blanket and wrapped it around the Joey and another blanket around Dave. They waited in the truck until a new team could arrive and take over so they could bring the injured animals back. When they got to town, Dave and the Joey were taken to the animal hospital. Dave recovered and the Joey became his best friend. There were lots of animals, homes and bush saved that day. Some said Dave was a hero. Others say they all were. The end. Thank you for reading with Storyberries.com. Free stories for kids.